Hello gardening friends, this is part 2 of my series on palms that are hardy in zone 8B, and this is a Serenoa Repens, otherwise known as Saw Palmetto. If you look very closely, most palms have some kind of protection, and these have little spines along the sides of the trunks. I don't know if you can see that, but basically Saw Palmetto is a good name for them because they don't stick you if you touch them like that. However, if you hold them and run your hand up and down, they will cut you like a saw. So don't do that. They are a grayish green palm, or palmetto technically. They won't change color. Whatever color you get, you can get gray ones, you can get green ones, it's going to stay that color. According to Betrox, the palm book, which I'll show you a little later, they do not form trunks. However, you can see mine did. Of course, this is approximately a 30-year-old one, and they only grow to be 6 foot tall. Well, here is 6 foot. I'm about 6 foot, and it's above my head, so apparently it likes that spot. Years ago, it used to be at the base of a large oak tree, and the oak tree had to come out, and it was probably about a 100-year-old oak tree. And when they took the oak tree down, they dropped chunks of it on top of that. And that Saw Palmetto was absolutely pounded flat into the ground. And I thought for sure that it was going to die. And so I dug up some shoots to it because according to my palm book, it's very hard to transplant. It's best grown or purchased in pots. Which, by the way, therein lies the rub. It's not a very rare plant, but you will rarely see it available for sale. It basically grows wild along the coastal regions of Florida. But in any event, I took 4 cuttings from the roots and I transplanted them. Here's one. There's 2. I've got to make some room for it. Here's 3. And then there's my 4th one. I dug up roots, and each one of those 4 Saw Palmetto plants that I dug up, I would say there's about 4. It was a large trunk of a root, about 4 to 5 foot long, for not much of a palmetto. So I imagine, you know, the big one has very, very long roots. And from what I've read, that the roots once cut will not regrow. So it needs to grow straight out from the main root itself. Let's see, what else? It's really a quite pet-friendly palm. You just have to be careful when you're mowing the lawn that you don't let those branches slide up across your arm as you're mowing, otherwise you will get cut. Here is the fruit of the Saw Palmetto. To give you an idea of scale, they're not ripened yet. I've been told they'll turn blue. And at least in Mexico, they're used for, I think it was kidney ailments. You may have heard me in the past call these Serenoa Repens. That's partly due to the fellow that sold me these years ago. About 30 years ago, I bought these from a man that specialized in palms here in the Gulf Coastal region. of Alabama. And he was an old man. Of course, I am now his age. So I am now an old man. But I believe he called them the Sonoran Repens, but it's actually Serenoa Repens. Of course, he may have been saying that, and I heard Sonoran, but whatever the case may be, it's Serenoa Repens. They do get large. You can see this is the height of the big one. These small ones underneath my Canary Island date palm, I cut back. I didn't think they were going to grow very tall, and they got as large as these, and I didn't want that in the front of this bed, and so I cut them back to the ground. Well, I shouldn't say, I cut the tall stalks back, and it stunted their growth long enough, and this is about now 2 years, so if you ever cut them back, they stay stunted for a long time. And I kind of like that look of the smaller growth there. To be truthful, I didn't plan on all 4 catching from what I had read. I figured, well, if only 1 caught, I'd be happy, and at least I would have saved this palm species in my backyard. My original thought was that that was not going to come back, the old one, and I just have grass there. But needless to say, all of the offspring caught, and I don't have the heart to kill them, but I don't mind stunting them a little. But let's go take a look at Betrox, my palm guide, and see what it says about the Serenoa Repens. Again, Betrox Guide to Landscape Palms. And there's the page on the Saw Palmetto. I'll try and get out of the sun, but I still have to be able to read it. They grow 3 to 6 feet, zones 8 to 11. Origin is southeastern United States. And again, it says it's clumping, essentially trunkless, each stem with 12 to 20 leaves, 12 to 30 leaves. And that's about it, really. Saw Palmetto forms a conspicuous ground cover in pinelands along the southern coastal plain. So there you have it. Palm number 2. Serenoa Repens. I'm sorry, Serenoa Repens, or Saw Palmetto. Take care.